Hi, my name's Chris Reedy and welcome to the latest podcast edition of Ready and Willing. Today we've got some successful business people in, entrepreneurs, really successful, but actually putting their hands in the pockets and helping our communities. So we've got Tim Hilton from JJH Builders, Mike Sharkey from Greenmount Projects. Both do lots of work in Wigan, but across the country, but actually they're arts in Wigan and the community of Wigan. So Tim, can I just ask you, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, we've our business. We've grown from 25 years ago working in Wigan for the Wigan Borough to the present day, and we've established ourselves to probably somewhere in the region of about 200 employees now. And it's not just in Wigan. We're all through the northwest now, just doing social housing, specifically social housing and repairs and renewals. Through that time, we developed quite a large turnover, and obviously taken apprentices through the college, through trainees and into local employment, and got to the successful business that we are today.
Excellent. Mike, Greenmount Projects. We see it all over the shirts, all over Wigan, really involved in charities. What's the company about and how many employees and stuff?
Yeah, we've been going 6 years, not as long as Tim. 6 years. Wigan company, construction, design, fit out, a number of great contracts in the northwest. We'd like to think that we do all the good things and do good with Wigan. Really excited to be here today.
Excellent. I think from you two guys, and actually I've known you individually, and up to probably a year ago, you really knew each other, but not intimately, if that's the right word for you guys. We'll not really go into your personal details. But actually, you've come together now. What we've never had in Wigan, and I don't think we're speaking to people like the local trust across the country, businesses do lots of stuff but don't come together. And actually, we all say in Wigan, partnerships is about working together, communities, but actually bringing you two together is actually unique for the borough and for the country. So just a little bit about that, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, we have two unique businesses, really. We specialise in the niche market on social housing repairs and renewals, and it is tight. It's a difficult to master, and we can do project work, and we have done a lot of project work, and Mike will tell you, Mike's had a go at the social housing side, and it's difficult.
Yeah,
and absolutely. Like in life, horses for courses. Michael stick and does his project-based stuff, and does cracking on, been a great success. Only running for 6 years, like you said. It took 25 years to get to where we are, but me and Mike, known each other for years and years, and sort of always did what Mike was going for that work, and I was having a go at it, but came together. It's probably about 18 months ago. I said, if I stick to this and you stick to that, I reckon we could do really well together in relation to the social value and what we can do, and can we hold hands and shout from the rooftop about helping the local communities, and what can we do to lead? Can we speak to the right people in the local authorities and see if we can push things along a little bit? And
so what's your take, Mike? Is he a nice guy?
He's a lovely guy, yeah. He's a great guy.
What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
Not what he said before.
Good fun.
Right,
good fun.
That nice is out of the way.
Great solid business, and I found a charity partner there I can work with without compromising our work streams and platforms. But the arena we work in is completely different, but so much synergy and togetherness with our charity passion in the Wigan and Leigh Borough.
I think really just come into that, one of the key things with all contracts across the country is community wealth building. So that's people showing what they will put back in the community to get contracts. But you guys have probably done that a little bit differently, because you're doing work, even though you've got the contracts elsewhere or wherever, in the art of Wigan to a certain degree. So it might bring us on to kind of who you're working with. And I know you're working together, so couple of big charities that you're working with, Mike, if you want to just tell a little bit about them.
Yeah, I mean, next year our charity calendar will work more collaborative together. But I have done a lot of work with Wigan and Leigh Hospice, close to my heart. The Brick, our homeless provision in the borough, and also Daffodil Dreams. You do an awful amount with disadvantaged people, families, and children. So three close to my heart. And Tim's thankfully got on board with me, along with his preferred charities as well.
So that brings on, Tim, to your charities, what you're working with.
Yeah, we do a lot of work with a couple of CICs. One's Fairclamp up in Norley Hall, looking after local communities, desperately in need, and people, and that's in relation to food waste and getting it back out into bringing it in and getting it back out to cheap provisions out where people can afford it. But not only that, it then's generated Fairclamp's gone into a larger setup, more of a community hub now for people to get involved in. And I think relating back, I think there's another podcast out there that Fairclamp and the Hamlet have been and done. And then getting onto the Hamlet, Gemma Crompton from the Hamlet takes on the trainees, with additional needs, and tries to get them ready for employment, which is a cracking setup, absolutely brilliant setup, and great to get involved amongst other ones. They're the main ones, but we've got talent fund and sports.
I think probably a little bit more, Mike. And actually, Tim's gone into kind of couple. Daffodil Dreams. It's quite a new charity, only a few years old. I've been involved with Daffodil Dreams and Maureen and the stuff what's some of the stuff that they're dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, I came across Maureen and Daffodil Dreams a couple of years ago when it was a merged charity. Thought great, fantastic. Got a platform there to work from. Maureen does a lot of work in the Wigan Borough. Christmas appeals, Easter appeals. Families that are struggling, everything that we see day to day in our borough. I think she's a fantastic lady and a great charity. And again, we're so happy to support her.
So I think actually we've looked at that, and you've both mentioned two of the charities you're dealing with. I know there's lots of sprigs off that, really, because there's lots of bits of other little charities that you're all getting involved with, even if it's a few £100 here or whatever, or helping in them kind of charity work that they do. So with the way I see you two guys is the Hamlet and Fairclamp with Tim, you do the Brick and Daffodil Dreams, and the Hospice sits in between you, because it's a massive organisation who needs support, and that's who I've been involved doing a lot with you guys. But I think moving forward to next year, actually you two guys have come together, really working closely. It's a really serious issue of raising money for charities, but you two guys have got a big year coming up next year. The stuff you're going to do, and I don't know if you both want to chip in at some of the stuff you're going to be doing.
You jump in with that. I mean,
we've had a number of meetings with Tim and Olivia, Leanne, myself, a number of people from the council, and a number of people from Wigan institutions, our anchor institutions. I'm looking at a number of guys here now who benefit from what the college provides, and I think it's around us as putting this charity calendar in, not just a monetary, but it's got to benefit the borough in terms of our future leaders, young apprentices, care leavers. So there's a lot of facets that we deal with, that we will be dealing with, and coming in contact with. But we've got a charity calendar next year. It's in its infancy. Soft launch the end of December, middle of Jan. We'll have a full launch with the leader, hopefully, and all our anchor partners involved. It involves challenges. It always does. Some one-off charity events, which have had fantastic support from both the council and the college, and it's potentially a £250,000 target, and that's away from what me and Tim do in our other charities as well. But that's a great target, and it will only enhance the offering to the borough.
So don't you want to chip in?
No, I mean, we didn't say much there about Team Wigan and Leigh, but we've got some sort of concept together that. Between us both, you're well aware, Chris, that we both individually do an awful lot, and together you can do an awful lot more.
Yeah.
So we've got like a concept together, Team Wigan and Leigh, the senior manager of the council, like Mike said, and senior community leaders that want to get involved, and we're sort of trying to develop it that it can be opened up to other communities, other CICs, other charities, and other suppliers and subcontractors and
So
contractors.
if you can send us some links after this, we can put that on this podcast that people can tap into and know what you've done. I know you've done the 3 Peaks, you've done lots of stuff together. Just want to ask you a question. Bit of a question, come whatever here. So you're both quite wealthy guys. You're okay. You've done well for yourself, and they're a lot richer than I am. So you know what I mean. I know you're that.
Where's this going? Where's this going?
So
Chris.
I wish you were. Yeah. Is that brown envelopes to one
You
side?
lend me 50 quid.
So
Yeah.
what intrigues you into doing it? Because not being funny, you could be sitting at home with
I
your
like
King
this
Edward
one.
cigar and your glass of champagne and going and watching Coronation Street or wherever you watch and think, watch the world go by saying, I've done my work.
Yeah.
What motivates you to kind of get into charities and spend most of your days now doing this? Your work comes secondary, it seems, here, because whatever I try and catch all of you, you're doing some kind of charity work.
Yeah.
So what brings you to that?
Well, I always say, and we get asked this quite a lot. Why'd you do it? And I always and I'll always relate it back to, and you're quite right. Whether we're wealthy or not, that's for your other half to let you know. But that's irrelevant in a little bit, because you don't set up in business unless you to be honest, you can do, but you want to see success. And I always try and relate it back to that. And, whether you get involved at small charities or large charities, it's good to see them being successful. And I think trying to get some of them to be sustainable, trying to help them, trying to see things from a business point of view, to try and get them to be successful, I think that's why you get involved. And I've looked back over the time that we've done it, which is quite a number of years now. Got to be getting on for, I think, 14 years when I worked it back, to the 2010 deal bit for the deal. When it started the small ball rolling, the what it is now. I look back and I think, yeah, it's because I like seeing how great and and a word I'll jump on. It's one of Mike's words. Amazing. It's fantastic. When I look back, I started using it a lot now. I feel myself using it. It's amazing. When you look at where some of them have been and where they are now, and they stand on their own 2 feet, and they run them as little businesses, but they've still got the heart in the community. You get there and you think, yeah, you've done really well, guys.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think you do. I mean, I'm a shorter time frame in business than Tim, although I've been in senior management for a number of years. When you have your own business, then you can sail that ship how you feel. I've got a board of directors that I obviously get. I get their support, and I don't just do it alone. But I think it's a feel good factor. Mum always said it's better to give than receive, and I think we can make a stance, and together we make a difference. Tim and I make a difference, but we've got a big shout out to professionals of Wigan. They're joining the team Wigan and Leigh, FUB Hub, the anchor institutions, like I've said, Wigan and Leigh College, and the council, and then our sporting institutions as well, all getting behind us again next year. So it's exciting times ahead, and only a benefit to the borough.
Yeah, I mean, for me to kind of looking at a couple of things that you've done. One, Tim spoke about Fairclempt. When you first got in Fairclempt and saw what was happening there, so you actually saw people in need who actually, we sometimes forget, it's easier talking and doing whatever when you actually see people on the ground who need it. And I know you saw that, Tim, and and I think the other one with you, Mike, was a few months ago when we was at Beach Hill doing the play box, which was on Beach Hill Park, which community had done, and you came in to help them to get that little bit of an extra funding, which meant a lot to that kids on that estate in quite a deprived area. So I've seen you two guys doing that kind of bit on the ground, but what I see is good guys who's willing to do stuff, and I think you're quite right. Plenty of these podcasts we've done is all about partnerships, and it is the council can't do it on their own, but everybody else coming together. We had Chris Brooks in doing a podcast recently who mentioned Murray quite well. She's your wife, and her association with Warriors for many years. So it is a big family, isn't it? Wigan is a big family.
Well, what I like about it is you sort of get involved and then it grows and grows and grows. I just relate something back to a couple of months ago down at the Overtown Awards, and Greenmount might won the Community Business of the Year award 2023, and JJH won it 2024, and I took our staff down. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, you take your staff down, and you get presented on, you know, and then you sit back down, and your staff then say to you, "Any chance we can get involved in a little bit more of this?" You know, and then from that, perfect. It becomes it's addictive. Why? You know, I don't know why. Why is it addictive? Because you feel great, and you know, when you look back, you think, oh, made a bit of a difference here, and. Yeah, we're talking about the big five, your Fairclamps, Hamlets, Bricks.
There's plenty more, isn't there?
Daffs and the Hospice, but there's loads. You know, we always laugh about Knitting Nora's Knitting Club. You know, they're out there, aren't they?
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a Knitting Nora's Knitting Club, but, you know.
That's showing your age now, mate. That's because you've got nowhere.
But if it's out there, we'll support it if we can.
Yeah. I think one of the points, sir, which you both kind of touched on, is getting that inclusive other businesses involved with there. There's plenty out there, not only you guys doing lots of good things business-wise, but we need to know about it. But also there's plenty who's just on that periphery who's going, I didn't know I could get involved. So what you're doing and highlighting in this podcast is you can get involved in this and do make a difference.
And I think, like I said, us bringing professionals of Wigan in next year, we spoke to one of the founders there, Lisa McAllister, you know, and it's that small individual business that may sell candles. And they come in, they say, well, you know what, I support Team Wigan and Leigh, and I've raised 250 grand this year. You know, and that's what she's done. This person's done. He's done. They've campaigned, and if they bought 2 tickets, they're involved. They're part of Team Wigan and Leigh. You know, a lot more people, a lot more businesses in our borough can make a lot of difference. Yeah, so
we'll put them links on for all the stuff that you're doing. Sorry, Tim.
No, it's all right. So just saying, we've got a big Christmas appeal on. I mean, all right, Mike jumps in with daffodils, and you know, there's that many referrals this year. Has reached out to us to say, we need a bit of help, please, mates. But then we've got Fairclamp with another 200 referrals at the moment. So it's a big number of people that need assistance, and the youth zone. We can't do it on our own. You're getting back to suppliers. We can't do it on our own. So I sent out to all ours, or Olivia did, sent out to all ours, right, guys, we need a bit of help. And that's all our subcontractor suppliers who we thought, you know, need to get involved. So, ironically, spoke to one this morning, not spoke to them for a while, myself personally, but got on the phone and he said, I can't believe what you've taken on. How do we get involved? And that's somebody that's just said, we've sent an email out. Can you get hold at wrapping? Can you get hold at selection boxes? Can you get hold at wrapping paper? Speaking this morning, mate, how you two manage, myself and Mike, you know, we're doing it. How you manage? How do we get involved? I said, don't you worry, mate. We'll get you involved. And they're out there to do it, Chris.
Just before we finish this bit, and there's a couple of students going to come in, ask you some intriguing questions about your personal life. Not really. But there we are. We're not going with that. It's not one of them podcasts. But I think there's a big event coming up next year, which you've both been talking about, and a meeting, which is something we're proud of at AR, what's happening at Country Park. You're going to have a golf event coming up there, but it's a golf event with a bit of a difference. It could be an all-day event, this. So, Tim, do you want to tell us that, and we can promote that out?
Yeah. Maybe I could have brought you in, Olivia, now, for talk about that. What's that now? I'm shaking your head, are you? Next year, in June time, we've got we managed to secure, thanks very much to the council, Hay Hall, not just for the golf. The golf's 12 till 5, but after that, we managed to secure the stable courtyard arena where we're going to host like an Irish night. I think we're going to go down that line, Mike. You know, to be honest, I think we're going to go down Irish themed night, and we've got that till 10:30, and that'll be coming out in January for members of the public to purchase. All for Wigan and Leigh Hospice, or for a great cause. The golf day is not going to be, it's going to be golf, but it's going to be a bit of fun involved in that golf, because it's got to be for fun. Golf's a bit boring, really, if it's not made that way.
Golf is usually fun.
Yeah, you do make me laugh, mate, when I've seen you play. Definitely, if we want to laugh, you can watch Chris hit it. But after that, there'll be bands on, and Wigan choirs involved, and there'll be food, and a few beers, you know. I always got to have a few beers with it. So yeah.
And I've got to say, Keith Bergman at AO has been involved with that with you
He's a
guys.
cracking guy.
So,
Cracking guy. Got a big shout out to Keith.
Yeah.
So Keith's the guy behind the branding of Ready and Willing. He's the guy. Got to tell him that because he wanted 10% of all the money I make, which is probably nothing. But there we are. So
but no. We're Keith's come up trumps with with everything he's come up with, and yeah, good shout out to Keith though. Yeah,
great
thanks.
talking to you guys, and look forward to in the future talking. And we're going to be working more and more. And all the stuff that matters to everybody out there in the community and the things that you're doing. So thanks. Thank you.
To it, Chris.
Yeah,
Thank you.
spot on, thanks.
Hi, can I welcome you to our podcast again with two business leaders and community guys. We've got Ollie who's going to ask a few questions from the college. So, by the way, Ollie.
Yeah. Well, obviously you both work in building stuff. How's the industry changed since you started?
Oh my word.
Good
Well,
question.
that was. How old do you think I am, Ollie?
Well,
51 in a couple of weeks.
It'd be a bit hard for him to answer that because he doesn't do much
51.
building work. He just sits in an office.
Right. Well, my building career started when I was 15. When I left school, and I was 15 to be honest. So just turning 16, you could get into it then. I'm 51. How old are you now?
55, 56
55.
next
So we're
week.
about, about the
56
same,
next
aren't
week,
we?
Ollie.
There you go.
Get your 25%
Yeah,
French
get
fries.
the
Get him a
birthday
card.
I'll run down card.
I'm 51 on 10th of December, Ollie. Yeah, so you just note that. But yeah, so we got into it then. But how's it changed? Well, I would say that we could go on about how the safety's changed, about regulations
health
in
and
life,
safety's
and
massively
everything's
improved.
generated and compliance, and what you've got to record and continuing quality, and a drive for the building industry as a whole to become quite a proud industry to be part of. That's been a huge change. I would say it's quite a privilege to look back and I think people who are getting involved in the industry now have got an exciting times ahead because it's one hell of an industry to get involved in. With all the fantastic projects that are ongoing, not just in Wigan, although there's a lot going on in Wigan, a huge amount of investment going into the centre, into the town centre, and it is just a fantastic time for individuals to get involved in it, not just from manual labour, all the way through to professional careers.
Is recruitment an issue?
Is recruitment an issue, Mike? You can,
Yeah, I mean, for me, how it's changed since me being a 16-year-old going into a plastering apprenticeship. Sustainability is a big one. Health and safety has changed considerably, for the better. I'd like to say mental health is made aware now. It's a big killer in the construction industry. And I think like sort of modern methods of construction, they've come on so well. And again, we're going to be looking in your lifetime, Ali, we're going to be looking at AI, all the modern methods and the IT infrastructure that we never had. It was hand drawn. Now it's gone to that next level. Exciting. Architecturally, some of the buildings are not as good, I feel, as 100, 200 years ago. I'm like a bit of a geek in architecture, so.
Yeah.
So is that from RE to high air?
Yes. So like, neo-Gothic and, the old, Austrian influences, probably Eastern European influences. That's what I enjoy looking at and studying. But yeah, it's changed for the better. How's the market gone? How's it going? It's always related back to the economy. If there's a nosedive, the housing, new build housing always goes first, and then we all follow into recession. Hopefully, it's with the new government, it's buoyant, and we take it to that next level.
Yeah, sweet. I know you said something about sustainability. Then, like, look, it's become a lot more sustainable with the resources and stuff.
Yeah.
And how's concerns around sustainability changed your approach?
Yeah, good. Another good question. I mean, sustainability is all about client. It's about this global impact on the climate change. So that's obviously a big, massive driver and the outcomes for that. But I would say it's historically it's always been client driven if they've got the money. It's quite expensive to have like your ground source heat pumps, your eco-friendly homes, traditional buildings, putting them back into a greener environment. That's good if client budget can dictate. We do a lot of design ourselves. We've got an in-house design department, and we look at these methods, modern methods of sustainable construction. But again, client dictate with budget restraints, and that's where we see it.
And sector led by the producers. Your suppliers of materials, they've got a lead on this, and some of these companies, these huge companies, they are some of the stuff that they're trying to recycled aggregates and recycled components into wood products. For instance, or plastics. Yes, led by larger manufacturers of materials, 100% becoming more sustainable.
It's good. It's great.
I think one of the big drivers, the biggest driver for me is zero landfill.
Yeah.
There's no more land being made now. God didn't make much more. He's not making land as we go on. You can't buy that now. So we've got what we've got. We've got to protect it.
Yeah.
And that's a big driver for me.
Yeah. And just got one more question, and it's what ambitions do you both still have project wise?
Oh.
Is there something you really want to do?
Yeah, I've got a young board of directors who are really want to get out there and get into the industry and make a name for themselves. So I suppose for me it will be designing some eco-friendly workplace that's state of the art, that people want to work in, and that be a flexible co-working environment, with all the latest gadgets, everything, to what you young people want. Our guys would design that. Our design team are really funky too. So I suppose this absolutely wowzer that, everybody in the Northwest stands up, sits back and says, oh my God, that is unbelievable. So that's probably my driver for my team.
Yeah.
I'm more traditionalist, like I say, so they don't think I'm funky at all. I'm looking at Gothic churches. And
is he funky?
What was the question relating to?
What ambitions do you still have project wise?
Project wise.
Something you really want to do.
Like a WeWork,
I want to be a pro golfer.
Really funky. A WeWorks that's really funky in a city that people sit back and think, oh my God, how did these people think of this? So innovative. And my team are only young, so they've got the IT applications, and they're like sort of led by, looking at something as funky as that.
It's funny really, because we've also got quite a young team, and they're driving it on. I know Mike's team. I know him quite well now, to be honest. Got to know him really well, and our lead project manager is 37, and I'm not sure I was. I'm thinking you're Dan, like I was Dan. He can't be far off, can he? Mid-30s, is he?
Yeah.
So that, really young.
He had a big paper round.
Yeah, he looks older. Yeah, get that on. Get this on. Yeah, Dan Riding, he looks really old. I thought he was 38, he's 28. No, that's so you don't want to work for Greenmount, to be honest, because that's what it does to you.
Ages you over there.
It drives you to fall. No. So yeah, we both got young, driven teams behind us. What my ambition, I suppose, is I've been fortunate. I've been in the industry for X amount of years, a number of years.
Insert number here.
Yeah. My 36 years already, and I'd like to see them all continue this. This business and watch them develop and flourish with it, because and to guide them along the way. Because I was very lucky. I was guided along the way, and I'd like to pass that a little bit down now. And
where do you see you both in 10 years' time?
So
Gidler
61.
Cemetery,
61, where are you going to be, mate? Where are we
Gidler
going?
Cemetery.
Yeah,
Is that just
alright.
working with Tim?
I'd probably just take a step back in the business,
Yeah, it's the same. It'd be similar, I would think.
but still have that, influence.
Yeah.
Not that it drowns and it dilutes what the board, the current board, and future board would want, but just to give them that influence and experience. I don't want to finish. I don't want to retire. I want to continue what I'm doing, but on a lesser scale in a number of years.
Yeah.
But still have that influence on the business.
You see, I think what Mike said then, he's dead interested in architecture and project development, and it is really good. It is really good to stand there and look at what you've achieved and look what back. So you talk to people that have retired, and they always say don't retire too late. But I love what I do. I really do love it, and it's, like I say, great industry to get involved in. And you've asked me a question, what, Chris? What we're going to do in 10 years? Probably the same as this, because I think that's what.
Another podcast for me.
Yeah, another podcast. But can I chuck the question about? Yeah, what do you think you'll be doing in 10 years, mate?
I'd like to still doing what I'm doing because I enjoy doing it. But naturally, spend more time with the family. I think sometimes when you're in a political career and you kind of push everything into it, some things get pushed to the wayside. So,
good call, really.
So, what do you think about the college building?
Well, to be honest, the building's fantastic, but you just look at what you've got here. And the students, absolute fantastic construction college. Led and also not just a construction college, industry led as well. Speaking to the powers that be, just to expand on certain areas that we're struggling with recruitment, and for them to listen. So it's a great building. I know Mike's done a bit of work and done some projects here, and he probably wants to jump in and speak about that. So I'll shut you over there. But yeah, the college as a whole, fantastic. Students, fantastic. The construction sector, a great setup, and Mike, other things to talk about.
I think amazing, Ollie. I think the offering to students in Wigan and Leigh is amazing. What goes on here in between these few campuses. You've got Leigh sixth form, amazing. You've got Prescott Street, your new facility, which has got a lot of engineering and construction for all our young people, our next generation of builders and engineers. We've got that at Pagefield as well. And then Parsons Walkie with the new build coming on, that'll take you to the next level in this educational corridor. And we're sitting in here in the podcast room here now in performing arts, and this is amazing too and stand out. And I think it just shows from Hannah and her team the principle of vision, the vision that you've got as a college, and I think we can only benefit from this from our borough.
I mean, just talking about this podcast, we wouldn't be able to do this apart from the college. And that there again is a true partnership of us all working together. And I was amazed really about the figures when I spoke to Maxine. 3,500 students around that figure, 9,000 distance learners. It's amazing, isn't it? You just don't know what's on your doorstep and the amount of impact it has on the future of lots of people and gives people that hope for the future.
Yeah, a massive anchor institution in our borough, Wigan and Leigh. So they've got 2 campuses over in Leigh and they've got 4 over in Wigan. So, I mean, and each one as a fantastic offering for further education and preparing new people for that next step, then either into full-time employment or into like university. Well, so you couldn't have a better environment, a better workplace, I don't feel, and that's thank you to Wigan and Leigh College, one of our better anchoring institutions.
Excellent, yeah. Can I thank everybody who's listened to the podcast, Ready and Willing podcast? Can I thank our business leaders here, Tim and Mike, who make a really big difference in our communities and in the business sector. So thanks, guys, and hopefully you'll tune in soon to the next episode of the podcast.